Why did I bid on this property even though my analyzer killed it? There's a lot more behind that, and that's what we're going to break down today. This home in Sacramento was super hot. When I went to bid on this, I was bid number 35 according to the realtor for something that had only been up one day on listing. There was a lot of interest in this. But if you look carefully at my forensic analyzer, the numbers are horrible. The seller ask is $299,000. The target really is $100,000 below that. The walkaway is $222,000, $77,000 too high. So the numbers were bad, and we've been showing how we use the analyzer to get our proper number. But in this case, we had a little different scenario. The base case died. The upside case is why I took the shot. What was it? And why did we end up bidding on this, even though the numbers said no? Let's find out. So what was the basic deal? We're looking at the property here. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,686 square foot property. And we mentioned the asking price was $299,000. Now, this home sits in Sacramento, California on a 1/4 acre lot. It's an older home built in the 50s, specifically 1955. But what we're looking at is a couple of things. First of all, we can see clearly that we're going to need a roof. This is going to be a full, pretty big rehab. And we ran the numbers and we will show them to you in a second. But the one thing that caught my eye, and that's a huge upside, especially in the city of Sacramento where these are easily permitted, is what you see here. We have a detached garage that could easily become a 1-bedroom or even a 2-bedroom ADU. Now, this was not a normal rental play. It was not a normal BRRR play. It was an upside dependent operator play. And that's why I decided to bid on this. Okay, so what do our numbers tell us for this deal? As you can tell, I have my analyzer, my forensic BRRR analyzer up. And here we could look at the numbers for this home. I previously ran it because, as I told you, this was a home that I personally bid on. Now, we could see that the after repair value for this home was $511,793. So basically, we're talking about $512,000. The rent is about $2,500 a month estimated. Now, these numbers are pretty accurate because there are a lot of comps in that area, since we're talking the city of Sacramento, and there's quite a few homes in that area that have sold recently. So we could trust these numbers in this case. Our target is $198,000 and our walkaway is $221,000. Now, one thing we got to keep in mind, this home is going to have a lot of repairs, and that was calculated into the repair cost. If you could see right here, we're looking at a working rehab number of $125,000. Now, this was based on my personal estimate that I did along with the contractor as we walk through the home. We're looking at a roof, interior, exterior painting, flooring, a kitchen refresh, appliances, 2 complete bathrooms, permits, contingencies, etc., etc. We're looking at $125,000 as a conservative estimate for this home. So it's going to be a pretty big job that we're looking at. So what does this tell us? It tells us that right offhand, the numbers don't work, because obviously we're about $100,000 or exactly $77,000 too high with this seller ask of $299,000. Now, obviously this tells us one thing. The analyzer is doing its job, because this deal, if it's just this home, it's not worth it. And this is a clear walkaway. The analyzer, that's the purpose of it. It kills the fantasy before you start justifying the upside. However, in this case, there's something extra. What is it? Let's take a look. So here we could see the upside the analyzer did not include. Now, the analyzer, to be clear, showed the base case. And that's what we wanted to do. Now, this ADU card tests a separate upside case. The detached garage was the reason I modeled it this way. Now, as you can see, the ADU budget would be $160,000. So a total rehab for this property would become $285,000. Now, the interesting thing is that shoots up our ARV to $642,000, and our new BRRR survival comes much closer to the target of $299,000. So let's examine how a possible ADU fixes the math, especially for a refi. Now we could see the numbers here are, again, it's the same card that we had, but we added a distinct number. The number is rent. As you can see, a base case of the home has a $2,500 rent. Now, a combined rent with an ADU pushes the combined rent into almost $4,000 a month. Now, like we can see right here, the unlock. Extra rent from ADU pushes refi loan cap higher. This is why the math changes. At this price, we do have capital trapped, 7 to 27K, which is acceptable. But that's not the big factor. The capital improves from ugly to acceptable, but the rent jump is the unlock. The ADU is not the win. The rent increase because of the ADU is what makes this a win. To be clear, I was not pretending the base math worked. The analyzer clearly did its job and said the base math does not work. I bid because the upside case was real enough to make money. This was not a clean BRRR by any means. This was a strategic bid only. Now keep in mind the big caveat. If the ADU fails, the deal can get ugly. So what's the lesson that we learned today? The lesson is simple. The mistake is not bidding on an upside for a property. The mistake can be made when you're pretending the upside is the base case. In this example, in this forensic analysis, we noticed right away that the analyzer killed the normal version of this deal. The numbers did not work. And if we're out in the field and that's a quick base method for making a decision, it's correct. Now, if we have time to analyze it a little deeper, the ADU card that we developed showed why the rescue version was worth testing. It showed a big upside that we probably wouldn't see if we just did a quick skim of this. Now, would you have bid on this one? Or would you have passed once the base math came back ugly? Drop it in the comments. And if you have a listing you want me to run through the field analyzer, send it over. Real listings, real math, no fluff. Thank you. This concludes our forensic examination of this property. Case closed.